small grains and raises registered Angus and Simmental cattle. Kyle attended Texas Tech University and is a proud Red Raider. He has judged many pig and cattle shows across the country. Kyle's experience in the show pig industry stems from owning and operating one of the nation's most successful show pig operations for over 20 years. Can we give Kyle a round of applause, please?
Now entering is Class 1 of prospects. Exhibitors include Savannah Hinton, Harlan Summers, Sonny Tubbs, Landry Cox, Benencio Hudson, Marcos Landavazo, Dallin Bringhurst. Class complete.
Well, good evening, everybody. First, I'd like to say it's an honor and a privilege to be here. I look forward to being here. Got an excellent set of facilities, nice cool breeze, and the good Lord's blessed us with something we like to do. So, man, it's a good day and a very good class to start off with here, and I think close here at the top. The one that really suits me the best, and I think just stays the most genuine whenever we study him at the ground and watch his skeleton in the way that it works. Young lady's Barra is one that suits me quite well. I like his balance, the way he elevates up front there. Still got some youthfulness there about his head and his neck. Very appropriate in terms of his length of body. Transitions there nicely. Just a real nice place to start with. Young lady's Guilt here, one I think similar to him, probably from a standpoint of just skeletal stoutness and bone and foot. This one falls just a little bit short of that class winner, but one that we can all see there from the side. Really gives us a nice look. Got some extra depth there in her heart and back to her flank. Just one that needs to stouten just a little bit there whenever we take her to the ground. One here in third, another one I think from a standpoint of proportions, from a standpoint of elevation at his shoulder, some cleanliness and some stylishness there in the front third of his body. Like that one real good. As we work our way from his last rib back into his ham-loin junction, he wants to weaken just a little bit, makes him want to drop his top down just a little bit. Maybe doesn't handle himself quite as securely there off his rear too as he goes away. Still a pig that's got a lot of quality. Young man's a solid black gilt, another one with some quality. One that's easy to see the dimension, the spread, the shape, and the freshness of this one. I think for me personally, I just like to freshen her up in her center body, drop her flank down just a little bit more, and give her just a little more natural feel there in her center cavity. But another one that has lots of good things that we appreciate about her. Folks, let's put our hands together for those kids and give them a big round of applause.
Results from Class 1. In 5th place, we have Dallin Bringhurst. In 4th, we have Marcos Landavazo. In 3rd, we have Harlan Summers. In 2nd, we have Landry Cox. And in 1st, we have Savannah Hinton. Now entering the ring will be Class 2 of prospects. Exhibitors include Samuel Martell, Aaliyah Almquist, Haley Burris, Alex Burris, Ashton Sellers, Maya Noe.
another good class and with some consistency in it. Honestly, just a little bit more give and take. But for me, a young lady here in the turquoise colored shirt, I think this one is just kind of non-negotiable in this particular class. And I think she kind of reads quality there from her skull back, and we study her down her top line. She's the one that's the most desirable just from a standpoint of levelness there. Everything fits and transitions right. Still one that's ample just in terms of her width and got plenty of muscle. Ideally, we could stouten her just a shot there in her rear leg, make it kind of match up there with the feature that she has in her forearm and up there to her skull. But one I think just quite handily wins this particular class. Closer again with some give and take here, and I think just in terms of one that has extras, and we get right off to the side of the young man's bear that's second. I do like that one quite well, just in terms of his levelness there from blade to tail. He's not as attractive, just made a little lack of feature there about his forehead. Gets just a little bit thicker there about his jaw, but that one in motion looks nice. Still one that's got lots of positive things to talk about. Young lady here that's 3, I think another one that from the side and just from a standpoint of functionality, this one does a lot of things right. For me here today, that one's just got to have a little more shape and Reed to have just a little more natural muscle in order to get him up higher here in this particular class, but one that I do like there from a soundness and practicality standpoint. Really good featured gilt here in 4, and I hate to say that really the front 2/3 of this one are so good and really kind of rival our class winner. For me, this one's just got to be different in terms of the way she gets out of her hip. We got to make her a little more comfortable there from that standpoint, allow her to lay her top down and relax and level up a little bit better. A really good class again, folks, and I'll ask you to put your hands together and let's give those kids a round of applause.
Results from the class. In 5th place, we have Haley Burris. In 4th, we have Alexis, sorry. In 3rd, we have Maya Noe. In 2nd, we have Samuel Martell. And in 1st, we have Aaliyah Almquist. Class 3 of prospects. Now entering the ring is Maya Noe, Noah Carson, Madeline Day, Kendall Cutter, Odin Tubbs, Denzel Hudson, Riley Wire. Class complete. Thank you to our sponsors, Core Electric Cooperative, Maverick Broadband, and Mountain View Electric Association.
Really good way to start this particular third class here. Young ladies tricolored gilt is one that really suits me from a lot of different aspects. And we look at this one just from a sheer stoutness standpoint. She's one that definitely stands out in this particular group. Still one that levels up nicely, one that's genuine in terms of her width, just in terms of where she hits the ground. Fresh, well presented, really nice way to start this particular class. Young man's off-belted bear here that's in second. One, I think, from just in terms of covering the base as well, this one does that well, and that's why he's here. He's still one that, to me, reads with some robustness there about his center body. He's got some freshness there, when we work our way from his forerib back to his flank. Nice kind of spread and uniformity of width as we work our way down his top. Just not quite as out there in terms of bone and feature in this one, but still a very nice pig there to stand in second. The one here in third, young lady's got a real neat looking, sharp gilt here from the side. Really attractive about her head and neck. Gets a little bit frailer in terms of her feature. Doesn't have quite the dimension there as we work from end to end in terms of her body. Same can be said. Young lady's gilt here in fourth. Another one kind of runs the right way in terms of height of shoulder and levelness to her tail. When we look at her from her forerib back into her flank, she's one that just wants to flatten and taper as we work our way back. I'd like to fill her and just make her a little rounder in terms of her body shape in order to move her up. Very good class again, folks. Those kids deserve a round of applause, if you would.
Grand drive of prospects. We need first from each class. In the first class, we have Savannah Hinton. In the second class, we have Aaliyah Almquist. And in the third class, we have Riley Wire.
I think we got three very nice class winners here that come out of their respected classes in the crossbred division, and taking nothing away from the young lady's gilt there, and that's still one I think has a lot of quality. Maybe just doesn't quite match up with this other pair just in terms of extra bulk and density throughout her body, but a really good gilt nonetheless. these other two, I think it's close, and I'll tell you here all day long, you know, if you like them a different way, that's okay. I put values where I like them, and I'm going to do that here throughout the day. And there's little things that we could talk about on both of them. And again, I think it gets really close. One of them's just a little bit better in terms of flexibility. One's got just a little more to them in terms of just extra stoutness and density. Still one that I'm going to say today is sound enough to suit me. I like the young lady's tricolored gilt to be your champion prospect.
Your champion prospect is Riley Wire. We'll bring out the second from that class.
Bring the young man's second place out, and one, as we talked in class, that one fundamentally does a lot of things right. For me, I'd just like to give him a few more extras to kind of suit the show ring setting just a little bit better, just in terms of feature and bone. But young man's done a good job with that one. That one's one he can really be proud of. The one that suits me best, that really has some of those extras, young lady here with the little belted barrel, be your reserve champion.
Reserve will be Savannah Hinton. Class 1 of Market Show exhibitors include Dalton Hudgens, Carlos Hudson, Eli Hockaday, Eli Alden, Alana Burris, Odin Tubbs, Hayden Post, Van Cutter, Benencio Hudson, and Cameron Braun.
Good way to start our market show here. The wide-belted bear one, I think, very, very easy to find, and you just look at this one from so many different aspects. First and foremost, that one's balance and look from the side is so good. I love the levelness. I love the elevation. Still got very, very appropriate show bear kind of head on him in terms of being stout and still yet being really attractive. I think just a no-brainer here to start with. The gilt that comes in too, I think another one. Good deal of quality here. Not quite as out there in an extreme in a place or two. This one is very genuine. It's still quite shapely in terms of her edge and the shape down her top. Just maybe not quite that extra style there that we have in our class winner. The bear that goes in 3, another one fault-free. I like the basicness of him. Still one that opens up nicely whenever we study him there at his chest. For me, in comparison to the top pair of them, this one gets just a little bit lower set there about his body. Like to elevate him a little bit more. Maybe clean him up right there in his lower third just a little bit. Make him just a little bit more stylish in terms of the way he hits us from the side. The bear here in 4 is one that really I think has got some neat pieces about him. A very flexible, pliable, kind of a skeleton. He's too dry in his body. He's too dry in his flank. That's the first thing I would like to change about him. Other than that one's got some muscle. He's got some bone. He's got some stoutness about him. We just need to fill him up and freshen him up in terms of his center. Young man here in the black shirt, that is 5th. One that of this top set of them here, this one just runs out of gas a little bit in terms of having some extra dimension and shape working in him. I think it would really help him from a style standpoint if we could just crisp him up a little bit. I like his proportions and one that definitely gets around nicely. So very good class again, folks. So put your hands together. Let's congratulate those exhibitors.
Fifth place was Benencio Hudson. Fourth place was Elena Burris. Third was Dalton Hudgens. Second was Carlos Hudson. First was Eli Hockaday. Class 2 of Market Swine. Exhibitors include Isaac Jarrett, Kylie Wire, William Londavazo, Bain Potestio, Aaliyah Almquist, Phoebe Cabrera, Madison Ware, Bain Potestio, Berkeley Schneider, Landry Cox, and Maddie White. Class is complete.
before we talk these, say something real quick that I meant to say earlier. I think it's just absolutely wonderful to see a full house around here, tuned in and watching these kids and stuff. So I know I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to the kids. Great to see a nice full house here tonight. Hey, very good class here to work through, fun to work through. I think the one we start with, the solid black bear the young lady has is, this one's just, he's just good. You know, when you look at him, whichever way coming and going, everything fits. He's square and genuine. He's got extra stoutness and feature. Hair's on point, presentation's on point. That's just kind of a nice cutout of kind of what a modern day show bear needs to look like, and still good livestock to go right along with it. So my congratulations there, young lady. Here in second, I think another one that fits in nicely. I think just in terms of elevation and extras, this one is really, really bold in terms of his chest and the way his undercarriage ties in. Like that about him. It correlates with that extra dimension that you see there throughout his body. And a lot of good in this one. My little pick right here, I think whenever we compare him, he gets just a little more sickle-legged there out back, and I'd like to make it functions well with him from a standpoint of attractiveness. I'd like to make that just a little bit different, make him go just maybe just a shot more comfortably and push and pull just a little bit more. But again, another very good pig. Lots of good things to talk with the blue gilt also. One that's big-chested. She's right in terms of her length of body. She's right in terms of her height and length ratio. Levelness is really good. Get right in behind this one. I get a little problem. She wants to rock and roll out there at her hock just a little more than what I would term was ideal. Still lots of good things there with that one. Young man's chromed up bear that's fourth. Maybe doesn't have the extras that a few of these others do in terms of shape and in terms of extra feature. I like this one's genuineness when we study his chest, when we study his undercarriage and all the way back. He's one that's comfortable on the go, still got a neat kind of extension about him and got some muscle. We just need to kind of geek him out a little bit in terms of some extra bone, maybe moderate his length of body there just a little bit, make things fit just a little nicer. We got a real boxy, strong top, broad-bodied one here the young lady has. Like that about him. When we study him in his center, he gets a little bit flatter in terms of his rib shape. Doesn't offer us quite the crispness and attractiveness a few of the other ones have. There's lots of good parts and pieces in that particular barrel. Just like to maybe tune him a little bit different, make him a little bit more stylish. Here he is, a real neat, stylish, good-looking gilt from the side. I like this one good when she came in. As we study her right there at the base of her chest, she wants to close up the most. We study her in her forerib and back into her center body. She gets narrower in terms of her cavity there from that standpoint. We just got to max her out a little bit more in terms of her center body dimension. Great class again to work through. Folks, I'll ask you to put your hands together for those kids.
Champion lightweight prospects. First, we have Eli Hockaday. Second, we have Carlos Hudson. From the second class, we have Landry Cox and William Landavazo.
Nice top pairs here in contention for your Division I champion. I'm real happy we get them back out here, look at them. I think there is a pair that fits together nicely. I think they're show bearers. They've got some of those extras of that pair of them. One's just to another level, just in terms of stoutness of feature, in terms of being moderated in places that he needs to be moderated, and then being maxed out in other ones. I really like the black one there to be your champion, and the young man's wide belted one out of Class 1 will be your reserve. Good job, guys.
Grand champion is Landry Cox, and then reserve grand champion is Eli Hockaday. Now entering the ring is Class 3 of Market Swine. Exhibitors include Bailey Rinker, Marshall Alden, Blaze Potestio, Odin Tubbs, Madeline Day, Autumn Alden, Carlos Hudson, Eli Hockaday, Troy Almquist, and Wade White. Class 3 is complete.
another good group to work through. I think the top pair, it's always nice whenever you can kind of keep some similarities in terms of these things, in terms of their looks, in terms of their strengths of qualities there also. And I think these are very, very similar. And if you stand there from ringside, I think and study them just from a standpoint of length of body, of spread and width to their body. Very, very similar in that standpoint. Both of them are ones that I would like to just trim up a little bit from a composition standpoint. For me, they're carrying just a little more than I would say was ideal in terms of fat cover. I do think the young man's Frosty Roan bear there in the blue shirt, he's still got just a little more style. I feel like he's just a little stouter in terms of his rear leg, his ankle, that extra security that he has there makes me want to give him the nod today. Very good pair of them there that the young men have. The one here in third, another one that's very similar to him, and I'd say the same thing. For me, ideally, I'd like to lean this one up just a little bit, give him just a little more crisp shape. I do like the youthfulness that he has about his head. He's another one maybe for the body mass that he's carrying. We could stouten him just in terms of his feet and his bones. Of that top trio, he's one that wants to close just a little bit more in his undercarriage, in his chest. Need to square him a little bit more there from that standpoint. Young man Spotted Bear, a really good pig, and I know it's hard for these to show against the crosses sometimes, but I think just in terms of quality of livestock, that one is really good. Just in terms of the basics, in terms of flexibility, in terms of one that has some bone. If you want to make a case, hey, that one's a little more ideal in terms of composition. Yeah, he dang sure is. I would like to level him up to give him a little more of the look that those crossbred bears have there from the side of him. But I commend the young man for bringing a purebred in here and then really giving these other ones all they want from a quality standpoint. Young lady here with the roan and the other young lady there, both of those pigs I think had some good things about them. Probably lacked just a little bit in terms of those extras, in terms of style, maybe just in terms of some extra show ring presence here today. All did a great job here. I think they deserve a big round of applause if y'all would give that to them.
And first we have Wade White, and second we have Eli Hockaday, and third we have Carlos Hudson, and fourth we have Marshall Alden, and fifth we have Madeline Day. Now we have Class 4 of Market Swine. Exhibitors include Sadie McWhorter, Noah Carson, Brant Vollison, Hilton Smith, Eli Zwack, how do you say her? Nehemiah Cabrera, Conrad Alden, Sonny Tubbs, Harlan Summers, and Maddie White. Class complete.
good class to work through here, and a top pair that challenges a little bit. I think both of them have lots of qualities about them. Both of them are ones that we could change just a place or two, and then really I would feel like we could kind of set the world on fire here. But the one that I'm just most comfortable with, the young man here in the turquoise, and I think this one, just from a standpoint of presence, especially front 2/3 of her body, is just really exquisite, stout, still attractive, still for one that's got some broadness and some extra power in terms of her body shape. Stays good there from her pole up there, or from her shoulder up into her pole. Gives her a nice look. This one's good in terms of her chest and the way she goes. Get right in behind her. She wants to kind of sit out there and rock and roll her hawk just a little more than I would say was ideal. And I guess in comparison to this one in second, maybe you say that one's just not quite as heavy structured. But for me, that one's still heavy enough structured. Just like to change her a nickel there as she goes away. I think her quality and her presence there from the side just kind of seals the deal for me. Powerhouse here in 2 is one that, again, this one just reads stout. There from end to end, broad and bulky. For me, he's getting just a little bit coarse in terms of the way he transitions there from his skull into his shoulder. He's one that as we go along here a little longer in the drive, he wants to get a little more rigid there in terms of the way that he reaches off both ends of his skeleton. Still one with lots of big pieces and quality about him. The gilt here in 3rd is one that we could talk a lot of things about, just about drawing a picture of one in terms of their proportions and what their side build would ideally look like. This one elevates so good at her shoulder. Yet another one that ultra attractive about her head and her skull. This one's still got some muscle shape to her, I think, as we're getting up here in this weight and we're starting to compare her with a few of these other ones. I've got to see just a shot more dimension in her body. I've got to see her just a little bit stouter in terms of her bone and her makeup. I love that one's build. I love her comfort level out here. Just need to see a little more of her in terms of a dimension standpoint. Again, close here in this 4 and 5 pair, and again, 2 that have good things about them in terms of their feature and that kind of quality. The bear over here is one that has got to be more coordinated for me in terms of how he uses his rear leg. He gets just a little bit longer about his spine. It's harder for him to kind of stay together in terms of his top line and his uniformity from that standpoint. But there's a stout, broad-made one. Still got a really neat front 2/3 about him. This young lady's gilt here is one big in terms of some pieces of feature. That's neat about her. This one is ultra flexible and pliable in her skeleton, maybe to her fault just a little bit. She gets a little bit weaker in terms of her top line. She's a little weaker in terms of her set there on both ends of her skeleton in terms of her lower joints and the way her feet work. But again, a great class, folks. I'll ask y'all to put your hands together and let's congratulate those kids.
From Class 4, we have in 5th place Maddie White. In 4th, we have Brant Vollison. In 3rd, we have Harlan Summers. In 2nd, we have Sadie McWhorter. And in 1st, we have Hilton Smith. Now entering the ring is Class 5 of Market Swine. Exhibitors include Brooke Burris, Abigail Cabrera, Kylie Wire, Savannah Hinton, Jaden Braun, Kendall Cutter, Troy McWhorter, Dallin Bringhurst, and Azera Smith. Class complete.
fun class to work through with some quality through here. Kind of comes in lots of different forms, and this is some, maybe a little different type, and I know it's fairly obvious. The one that I start with that I think is the best one is really doesn't match up just with a couple of them, just in terms of extra dimension and density. I do think this one's the most bomb-proof just in terms of her skeleton. She's one that balances the best here, in my opinion. I think just the most appropriate there from a balance standpoint. We can factor in width. That one's still got enough muscle. Yeah, ideally we could make her heavier legged there out back and give her a bigger rear leg. That one's great presented and just balances. She's been the most consistent one here throughout the drive, just in terms of her look. I think she's just one that I feel the most comfortable in starting with. One here in second, obviously, that's one that's got huge pieces just in terms of bone and stoutness and feature and dimension of muscle. For me, that one's look's got to be better. He's got to be freed up just in terms of his movement. I think maybe just a little overdone here for this judge today. He is awfully stout. Still got lots of neat things about him. Just like to maybe hone him in just a little bit differently here for me today. Spotted Bear hits in 3 is one that again I could make a case to start this one. He's got a neat look and still one that's got some feature there about his skull. He too's one that's not just the biggest legged one that we have out here. That doesn't factor as much as whenever we get right in behind him. That one wants to close and be just a little less genuine in terms of his base width going away. That's the area that I'm going to get critical on him here today, and that's why he's standing there in third. The one here in fourth, off-belted gilt, I think has got the pieces just in terms of her build and her proportions and her features to win. She gives up just a little bit. She doesn't stay sound enough here throughout the drive. Gets a little less coordinated in terms of how she gets out of her hip and her rear leg. Really balanced gilt here in 5 that doesn't quite want to show off all the time. I think this one's naturally got some good things about her. She is a little bit longer bodied, therefore appears a little bit flatter just in terms of her cage. Don't see quite the extras there with her. Again, a nice class. Let's give those kids a round of applause.
In 5th place, we have Jaden Braun. In 4th, we have Dallin Bringhurst. In 3rd, we have Troy McWhorter. In 2nd, we have Savannah Hinton. And in 1st, we have Kaylee Wire. Light medium weight championship, we'll need 1st place Wade White, 2nd place Eli Hockaday. We'll need Hinton Smith and Sadie McWhorter and Kaylee Wire and Savannah Hinton. Class complete.
Good set of them again that comes out here in this Division 2 for Champion and Reserve. And going back through them, I think there's a pair that I can land on and be comfortable with that give us some style and some balance and still have some muscle. still have good, pliable, flexible kind of skeletons. Young man here in the turquoise shirt, 152 is going to have your champion. Young lady there that wins the third class of this division there is going to have your reserve.
Grand champion, light medium weight, goes to Hilton Smith. Reserve goes to Kylie Wire.
Good job, bud. Good job.
We're going to take a quick break to water down the show ring so it's not as dusty out here.
Thank you to our sponsors, HEI Civil, Farmer State Bank, Potestio Brothers, Tallgrass, Wagner, Schmidt Construction, GMT, Now entering the ring is Class 6. Exhibitors include Alexis Burris, Bernice Summers, Harlan Summers, Karina Vidalis, Dallin Bringhurst, Van Cutter, Abigail Cabrera, and Marcos Landavazo. Class complete.
Another nice set to work through here. The young lady's gilt. I think this one suits me quite well there. And then we look at her from from a standpoint of proportions and look, she's the one that excels the class, and still one that I'm comfortable with in terms of her mobility and her soundness. Ideally, we get that one to go in just a little bit faster and kind of show off that she can go, because her angles read that she's built right to be a little more athletic than what she shows. But her advantages here, I think, over a bear that's here in second, is just I like her added elevation. I like her added cleanliness and attractiveness there out front ahead of her blades. Still one quite impressive. We get right behind her, square in terms of her hip, all the way hock to ground. Really good kind of a gilt there. Like a lot of things about the young man's Burt Mark Barra, and just a real powerhouse, one that's probably the most genuine there in terms of base and body of the particular class. He gets a little lower set to the ground. He gets a little bit thicker and chunkier there around his head and his neck. I still think there's lots of good qualities there with that one. Really like his reach and the looseness of skeleton that he has. Good proportions. The young lady's chromed up barrel in third possesses here, and one that, again, neat looking there from the side. Maybe just a little less genuine in terms of his chest. And my biggest fault here is we watch him go away. That one just needs to relax more in his rear pastern to be able to handle the surface and just push and reach there off of his rear too just a little bit better. Young man's gilt in fourth, kind of a stout, deep-ribbed, kind of broad-made one. This one's got just a little bit of junk working back there in her rear flank underneath her. Need to see her just a little more athletic, and that's the biggest thing that probably limits her in this particular drive here. Young man that we wind in fifth. Neat kind of wild pieces, wild looking one here. This one's just a little shallower in terms of her rib, a little flatter in terms of her body shape. Got a real attractive front end to her, and kind of got some neat things to talk about. Just got to soften her body. Good group of them again, folks. Put your hands together for those kids, please.
In fifth place, we have Harlan Summers. In fourth, we have Marcos Landavazo. In third, we have Bernice Summers. In second, we have Dallin Bringhurst. And in first, we have Karina Vidalis. Now entering the ring is Class 7. Exhibitors include Jacob Crippen, Isaac Jarrett, Alexis McAllister, Titus Cabrera, Madison Ware, Kendra Hunley, Eli Zwack, Troy McWhorter, Ashton Sellers, and Wade White. Class complete.
another really good class here, and I think the top pair extremely good here in my opinion, and some trade-offs between the two of them. But I think both, it's easy for the eye to see that they have some extras in terms of some show ring presence. They've got some extra stoutness about their feature and their bone work. Still got sharp edges working in them. I guess here for me today, the blue gilt's just one that I see there from the side, just elevates slightly better there at her shoulder. One that's just a little bit sharper there about her look. Still opens good there in her chest. I think that's just about a dead heat when you study them from that standpoint. I think just the extra aesthetics of having just a little more style and maybe just a little more honed in here today is why I give her the nod. Now the belted bear, I think one that for me ideally, if we could slick him just a little bit there from the base of his jaw right into his shoulder, take just a touch of that roll out of him. I like that pig a good deal. Probably one that maybe just in terms of being just a little heavier structure there in terms of his rear leg, we could give him the nod. Again, a really good pair there with lots of quality to talk about. So we get down in here to three, a gilt that fundamentally and just general build-wise, this one's good in terms of her elevation of shoulder, in terms of her length of body, in terms of her levelness of body. She just runs out of gas in terms of some extra feature like the pair that we had above her. Likewise, a young man's gilt here in fourth, another one that's got some good things there in terms of her natural width, in terms of her roundness of body. She's fresh and shapely there in terms of her top line. I'd like to see her level just a little bit better and blend there in a couple of those transitions to smooth her just a little bit. There's one that's nice and fault-free. 1 in 5 that she's kind of got the pieces of our first and second place ones in terms of just some of those extras. This one's got to be sounder for me, just in terms of the way that she gets out and goes. Let's give all those exhibitors a big round of applause. Great class.
In fifth place, we have Alexis McAllister. In fourth, we have Jacob Crippen. In third, we have Ashton Sellers. In second, we have Troy McWhorter. And in first, we have Wade White. Class 8, a market swine. Exhibitors include Noah Braun, Dalton Hudgens, Savannah Hinton, Josiah Smith, Silas Smith, Barrett Vollison, Wade White, Phineas Bramer, Bernice Summers. Class complete.
Another good class to work through with quality, and again, a top pair that challenges you to break them down and really get them how you like them. I think of these two, they're the ones that excel. Spread and uniformity, extra density there from end to end. As we drive them a little longer, the young man's belted gilt is just one that maintains a little more comfort. She's one that I read that probably ideally just a little more ideal in terms of length of hip. She's a little bit longer there up there at the top side of her neck, and that transitions better there for me. But one that's really stout, still got some feature, a good level look to her from the side, and able to get out here and keep reaching and rolling. The cheetah colored gilt, a real neat one, catches your eye right off. Big featured, big spread, one that's maybe just a little bit rounder just in terms of her general pattern. She gets a little shorter hip for me, gets a little shorter neck, and then ideally we get her out here on the move and just keep her a little more flexible here throughout the drive. As we get in here to third young lady here to my left, I think this pig's one that is striking, I think excellent in terms of hair quality. He's nice and tan. He's dry-bodied here for me and a little drier flanked, but I see lots of nice parts and pieces with him. If we've been managing weight to go on down the road later, I think that one's got better days ahead of him. I just like to fill him up and make him a little more dimensional in terms of his center body and cage. One here in fourth, neat gilt, very well presented. She gets a little frailer in terms of her bone work, gets a little bit narrower in her undercarriage in comparison to the other ones we had there. Good class, folks. Let's put our hands together and give those kids a round of applause.
In fifth place, we have Phineas Bramer. In fourth, we have Wade White. In third, we have Bernice Summers. In second, we have Savannah Hinton. And in first, we have Barrett Vollison. Champion medium weight, we need Karina Vidalis, Dallin Bringhurst, Wade White, Troy McWhorter, Barrett Vollison, and Savannah Hinton.
Well, we get in here to select our division champion reserve, and I think lots of quality, probably the most that we've seen in one of these drives, and I think that you look at them today, and then as you roll them forward there, I think some of them can really have the ability to kind of keep going. And looking at them here today, there's one that I keep going back to that I just feel like is the most genuine whenever we study them at the ground, and then still one that has that same one, tremendous spread there from blade to hip, and has a great deal of comfort and flex and reach, has maintained that here throughout. Young man there on the far side with the gilt that won that last class will be your champion. And we get in here to select your reserve, and there's another one that really for me was different, just in terms of having some extra look and feature, and still combine that with some flex and reach, maybe not quite as bold and broad spread there as our champion. I like this young man's blue in here to be your reserve.
With Grand, we have Barrett Vollison, and reserve, we have Wade White. We have Class 9 of Market Swine. Exhibitors include Owen Hockaday, Maddie White, Haley Burris, Kyron Newton, Enrique Vidalis, Addison McWhorter, Emilian Summers, Hezekiah Cabrera, Malachi Smith, and Logan Cox. If anybody lost a ring, we have it up at the announcer's stand.
another high quality class, and very well presented bears here at the top end of this particular group, and I appreciate that. I think it does a lot in terms of bringing out the best in your animal, and it sure makes it nice for me to look at. This top pair is another one I think really kind of go either way here, and I'll tell you how I see them, and I prefer the young man's tricolor, and I think just from a standpoint of just being a little more genuine there, base width, center body, especially when he leaves us and goes right away. This one plants a little more squarely, a little more securely, got just a little more work in him there on both the blade all the way back to his hip, and then yet I think he's one that has just a little more natural turn there in his center body. Still gives us a nice look there from the side. Close pair, but we're going to give him the nod today. Young ladies, belted gilt, great in terms of presentation. This one's spot on and ready to roll here today. I think for me, this one wants to flatten there in her forerib just slightly in comparison to our class winner when she leaves and goes away from us. Not quite as big and secure a rear leg, not quite as stout right there at her stifle, and doesn't square quite as well as that class winner, but again, a very, very good pair. The one here in 3, I think, has got some parts and pieces to match up with those just in terms of proportions, in terms of elevation of shoulder. This one has got to be more athletic in the way that he gets out of his hip. I'd like to see his rear flank set down on him just a little bit better to balance him better from the side, but another one there that really has some quality about him. Likewise, the bear in 4, tall-shouldered, real level made. This one gets just a little bit longer in terms of his body and the length of spine. Therefore, we don't have quite the spread and uniformity of width working in him there from his forerib and down his top line. That's one that's nice to look at from the side, one that's nice in terms of his movement. Really, really good moving. Probably the most naturally loose skeleton one of the class here in 5th. She just doesn't have quite the show ring style and pizzazz there whenever we look at her in terms of her head and neck. I do admire her just from a standpoint of genuineness in terms of her reach and her flexibility. Again, great class, folks. Put your hands together. Let's congratulate those young people.
In 5th place, we have Kyron Newton. In 4th place, we have Amelia Summers. In 3rd, we have Owen Hockaday. In 2nd, we have Maddie White. And in 1st, we have Logan Cox. Class 10 of Market Swine exhibitors include Hayden Post, Brant Vollison, Blaze Potestio, Landry Cox, Azariah Smith, Alexis McAllister, Sadie McWhorter, Hilton Smith, Samuel Martell, and William Landavazo. Class complete.
Good class to work through. Lots of quality here in particular, and the top trio I think are ones that you really have to study and figure out where your priorities lie. And I think this young man's bear that we start with, there's just some things that I really like about this one. I think he moderates just the right way, just in terms of length of back, and still maintains a really good show bear kind of head. Got a nice kind of pole in him. Got some length of hip about him. He's got some advantages just in terms of having a little extra punch right there at his center, being just a little bit stouter in terms of his density over the gilt here in second. I'll tell you, get right in behind him, and he hits square, and he plants, and he pulls off. I wish he would float just a little more and not flip his back foot quite the way that he does. I think that he held up to the drive really well, and I'm comfortable saying that that one is probably just the most genuine there in his build there from end to end. Still has some look and style to him. Young lady's gilt here in second. Neat looking. Lots of parts and pieces about this one to talk about. Extra elevated in terms of her shoulder. She too is one that really exquisite there about her skull in terms of having some stoutness, having some turn to her jaw, still having a thin pole and a tight throat there about her. For me, this one may be, if we could just spread her there in her center body as she continues to get bigger, and then spread her there from stifle to stifle slightly, make her match up with just a shot more bulk going away. I like a lot of things about that one. The white gilt, another one I like a lot of things about, and really just in terms of density and broadness, this one probably just takes it to a whole nother level in this class, to her demise a little bit. As we drive them a little bit longer, she wants to tighten, she wants to labor, she wants to start rolling her hock out just a little more, and then we study the front third of her body. She gets a little shorter and thicker on the top side of her neck. For me, I still think that's one that got lots of nice things about her. Maybe we readjust just a little bit. Maybe that's where you want her. That's your business. I'm just saying, for me, that one's probably pushing the edge just a little bit more than where I'm comfortable. I like the black gilt. I like her practicality. I like her function. Her lines are good. We just don't see quite as much of her as those ones that we have right above her. Young man's bear that comes out, another one. Good proportions, good look from the side, well presented. We watch him come right at us. He's one that wants to twist quite a bit up front. He wants to lay a little bit flatter there on his front feet. He gets just a little less coordinated out of his hip and hind leg. Still another one with lots of quality. Great class, folks. Let's put our hands together. Let's congratulate those kids.
In fifth place, we have William Landavazo. In fourth, we have Alexis McAllister. And third, we have Hilton Smith. And second, we have Landry Cox. And in first, we have Brant Vollison. In Class 11, we have exhibitors Kendra Hunley, Eli Hockaday, Noah Brunn, Berkeley Schneider, Addison McWhorter, Berkeley Schneider, and Josiah Smith, and Lorelei Bramer. Class complete.
Young lady here, we start with in the center of the ring there, the pink striped shirt, really attractive, stylish, kind of a show bearer, really elevated, level in terms of top line. I think this one, as we kind of get up in these weights, this one really reads fresh and youthful there. I like that about that one still. That the top Baron too, maybe just a little more modest in terms of his elevation. I do like his stoutness and spread. I think the biggest separator in this pair, this one just didn't want to get out here, reach and go and use his gear there out back quite as well as that class winner did. I think lots of good similarities there to talk about in them. Young lady there on the far side that's third with the red head is one that, this is just a really good, solid meat and potatoes kind of a market bearer. He's good in terms of his proportions and his length. He levels up nicely. He's fluid and sound. He's got some problems working back behind his sheath and his lymph nodes that take away from him just a little bit. And maybe just not quite as wild looking in terms of neck, in terms of jawline. A lot of things to appreciate there in that one. Likewise, the bearer in 4 got some good things about him, sharp and shapely in terms of his top side. One that's got a really big arm, big chest working in him. Doesn't balance up as good in terms of laying his top down. Got just a little bit of scarring there, working back there in his seam just a little bit. Takes away just a few points from him from that standpoint. Here's a broad, really square pattern one coming next. I think this one gets just a little bit piecey in terms of the way his top line comes together. Like to make him a little more attractive about his head. Again, a very good class here to work through. Let's put our hands together and congratulate those young people. Good job.
In 5th place, we have Berkeley Schneider. In 4th place, we have Eli Hockaday. In 3rd place, we have Lorelei Bramer. In 2nd place, we have Addison McWhorter. And then we have Berkeley Schneider in 1st place. Champion medium heavyweight drive, we need Berkeley Schneider and Addison McWhorter. We need Brant Vollison and Landry Cox, and Logan Cox and Maddie White.
really good set of pigs here in this Division 4, and to talk real briefly about them, it comes down to a pair for me, and I think similarities, and it'd be a pair that if I could take just one part from one and put it with the other one, I think we could have an absolute hammer. But the one that I think just really suits me good from a style, balance, and then seals the deal with extra length of stride and flexibility, going to be the young lady here in the pink and white shirt that wins that last class. The one I like second best is one that I think's got just killer proportions and look. Like to see him be just a little more comfortable out back. I think the young man here in the blue shirt's got your second best one. Let's congratulate all these exhibitors. Really good drive of Barras and Gilts here.
The grand champion meeting heavyweight goes to Berkeley Schneider, and your reserve champion is Brant Vollison. Now entering the ring is Class 6. Exhibitors include Jacob Crippen, Katrina Vidalis, Tabitha Cabrera, Dakota Lazar, Colton Newton, and Ashton Sellers. Correction, this is Class 12.
Did y'all get all that?
What's that?
A good set here as we get in this last Division 5. Young man here with the off-belted black bear. I think one I like a good deal here and easy to find in this group. Does so many things right in terms of his proportions, in terms of his elevation, yet very appropriate in terms of his condition. Still one that's very muscular. Gets out here and goes good, heavy structured. That one just checks a lot of boxes there for me. I think second best one here, Young Man's Blue Barra. Another one from the profile. This one gives us a nice look in terms of balance. Doesn't offer us quite the stoutness there. His skull and jaw or rear leg there as our class winner, but I think he kind of fits and follows in there nicely. Young lady's bear that's got the little navel hernia there, another one with some quality and with some shape and the right composition. Again, one that just needs to be a little bit stouter in terms of his bone work and his build. The young man there at the far side with the wide belted chromed up bear is one that really for me, I think the biggest thing, this one needs to level up to balance himself just a little bit better from the profile. He too is one that we would ideally like to see just a little heavier in terms of his structure and his skeleton. His width reads true underneath, and I like that about him. Just need to kind of fancy that one up there just a little bit. Young ladies, red bear is one that really kind of got some muscle, maybe from a balance standpoint, falls a little short of a few of these other ones. Likewise, young ladies, white bear here, I think if we could just stouten these up in terms of their feature, clean them up in terms of their jawline and level them in their build, we could kind of get them considered up there higher. Let's put our hands together for all of those exhibitors, if you would.
In 5th place, we have Tabitha Cabrera. In 4th place, we have Jacob Crippen. In 3rd, we have Karina Vidalis. In 2nd, we have Colton Newton. And in 1st, we have Ashton Sellers. Class 13 of Market Swine, exhibitors include Sadie McWhorter, Lorelei Bramer, Hilton Smith, William Landavazo, Dakota Lazar, Amelia Summers. Class complete. We will be doing a small fry show after the grand drive. If you guys want to sign your kids up, they're up here at the announcer's booth, and you can come do that.
So work our way in here. The chromed up gilt that the young man brings us, I think another one from a proportion standpoint and elevation, really one that catches your eye quick. And as you study her in her undercarriage, I think this one reads really genuine. Just a nice, fresh one as we get up here to this size and weight that's still got some youthfulness there about her read. Still one, I think, that's plenty acceptable in terms of the way she gets out and goes. I like a lot of things on the black one. Another one that's elevated there nicely at his shoulder, stout in terms of his feature and his bone work. Maybe one that doesn't read just quite as full right back there at his flank and uniform in his line. When we get off to the side of him, get right behind him and like to secure him just a shot in comparison to that gilt, but one I think that definitely got some quality there about him. The one that we have here in third is a young man's Barra. Is one that, again, gives us a good proportional look there from the side, some elevation, not quite the trendy, attractive front third of his body, not quite as secure there when we watch him leave us. He too's one that got some good things to talk about. The gilt in fourth is one really got some wild kind of a look about her. Neat skull and neck. She gets a little bit stretchy there at her length of spine, gets a little bit tighter in her flank and a little bit flatter in her body. Just like to flesh her up, probably shorten her there a rib or two in order to make everything kind of transition a little bit better. Really stout, muscular spot gilt that lays in here next, and we appreciate that one's density. Got to reproportion just a little bit to make things balance a little bit better, make her a little more fluid in terms of her movement. The one we wind up with, the young lady has. Need to see just more shape and muscle expression working in this one. Need to see him stouter from the surface as we work our way up there in his skeleton. Let's give those kids a round of applause, if you would, please, again.
Fifth place, we have Lorelei Bramer, and in fourth place, we have Amelia Summers, and third, we have William Londavazo, and second, we have Sadie McWhorter, and in first, we have Hilton Smith. Class 14, exhibitors include Addison McWhorter and Phineas Bramer. Class complete.
Just a pair in this last class as we end up this division, and we got some contrast, and it's kind of pick where you want to be. I think for me, just from a standpoint of balance and still having some style and attractiveness, I like the young lady's Barry. He's well presented, good in terms of skin and hair. Really like this one in terms of his skull shape and the way his neck comes out of his shoulder there. Still, we get down his top side. He's got some muscularity about him there. Ideally, we make him a little more comfortable in terms of the way that he plants and pushes out of his hip and his back leg. I still think he offers us the most positives. I do like the proportions and the length of body here on the young man's barrow, and maybe one that just moves a little bit easier there from the standpoint of getting out of his hip and moving. For me, I'd just like to see this one with a little extra style. I'd like to see a little more stoutness there at the ground to kind of match better with the bulk and mass that he has up higher in his skeleton there. Let's give those two exhibitors a big round of applause as we wind up here.
Champion heavyweight drive, I need first place Ashton Sellers, second Colton Newton. I need first place Hilton Smith and second place Sadie McWhorter and Addison and Phineas.
another good group as we get out here and evaluate for your Division 5 champion reserve. And for me, I think one that stands out very nicely in a good way is the young man's chromed up gilt. Should be your champion. And then as we get in here and study for reserve, closer decision, I think the one that matches up follows best just from a genuineness and squareness standpoint, still with a little extra elevation. Young man's off belted barrel on the far side there will be your reserve champion.
Grand is Hilton Smith, and reserve is Ashton Sellers. We're going to take a 5-minute break just before we do the grand drive. Reserve champion light.
Not yet. They're coming. Can we get a big thank you to our ring help and everyone behind the scenes? We really would not be able to get this done without their help.
Our reserve lightweight champion is Eli Hockaday. Our reserve champion light medium weight is Kylie Wire. Reserve champion medium weight is Wade White. Reserve champion medium heavyweight is Brant Vollison. Reserve champion heavyweight is Ashton Sellers. Champion lightweight is Landry Cox. Champion light medium weight is Hilton Smith. Champion medium weight is Barrett Vollison. Champion medium heavyweight is Berkeley Schneider. Champion heavyweight is Hilton Smith.
And once again, our judge today is Kyle Stevens. Can we give him a round of applause, please?
Well, just a few words here before we select your champion. You guys here, if you would, shut them down here for just a second. And I think first and foremost, your committee and your volunteers that work throughout the year and especially here during this week to put the show on and to do it in such a good fashion. The ring help, guys, they deserve a big round of applause. So let's let them know they're appreciated, and you see them afterwards or you see them next week or next month, be sure to tell them that they are appreciated there for what they do here to keep this thing running. As far as community, again, great to see everybody and the support and the interest being out here to support the kids. I think it's wonderful. It really makes me happy to see so many people out watching and involved and rooting for the kids and pulling them on. So thank you all again here for coming out. Share a quick story, something that kind of happened recently for me that really that hit home, and I grew up doing showing, and then raised and sold show livestock for a long time. My kids grew up doing it, and it's something that I always thought about, but it was stated in a way that it kind of hit home with me pretty drastically, and it was about a week ago today. And I had a family there across the border there in New Mexico, a new family that had kind of come on board, and first year for them to show. The boy's about 11 years old, and his dad, a very good man. But we'd kind of getting stuff ready, and the boy's name's Noah, and Noah said, "Man, I'm nervous." And I said, "Man, don't be nervous." I said, "You've worked and you've practiced to get here, and you're going to be fine." And kind of soothed him down. And before he went to the ring, his dad, Michael, said, "Noah," he said, he said, "Remember," he said, "win or lose, go out there and do your best." He said, "But be kind, or be gracious, and be humble, win or lose." And I thought, man, that's a heck of a perspective for somebody, to say, and that's an important deal to them. And I think what really spoke to me about that deal is what I've always felt about a youth showing livestock and being raised around this. We even as parents and the amount of dollars and time and effort and tears and joy that's shed and goes into this. A lot of times it gets wrapped up into the wins or the class wins or the show wins, and I just want to remind you, hey, that's not what it's all about. Every dollar you put into this, raising your kids and bringing them up in this, is worth it. And I know it can be a lot, but there's still no better way to raise young people. I think that. Especially community folks that are around here, maybe just watching, maybe you've got kids that aren't quite old enough to show. I hope it's something that you can consider doing regardless of the time and the money that it takes to do it, because I think it's such a wonderful investment there in the future of your young people, and pulled into the fairgrounds today and saw kids that were they were out there roping inside leg, and they were playing, and they had their buddies, and they were here for Fair Week. And guys, those are memories that will last a lifetime in them, and I think that they're good memories and pretty heartwarming for me. So I'll shut up here again. Great opportunity for me to be here. I love getting out and working with young people. I like taking opportunities to share. Hopefully share and make learning moments with some of them here along the way. Been a very, very good pig show. I'm not going to talk them all in depth and detail. I like these pigs. I think they've got a lot of quality. I think they're well presented. I'll go out here and pick the one that I like best. If I would, I'm going to ask everybody, let's raise it up. Let's make a little noise. It's a big time. These kids have worked hard to get here. Let's pump it up here for a minute.
The reserve will be Eli Hockaday.
And then announce our grand champion.
Grand champion, Landry Cox. Reserve champion, Berkeley Schneider.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out. That concludes the 2025 Market Swine Show.
We'll start small fry in about 5 minutes. The beer garden is going to be closing here soon. Last call. Start small fry until these are done. I know. And Kern is sitting down there. Sam texted me. Says, I don't know where the beer garden was. I'm on my way. Seriously.
All right, we're going to get started on the small fry. All right, our first small fry is entering the ring. We have 25 entries. Can we get a round of applause for all these little guys? We have one more entry entering the ring as we speak. Class is now complete. All right, if everyone can start exiting the ring, that concludes our small fry division.